Morning, Army. It's Heidi Allen, founder of the Positive People Army. How is everyone today? It is Thursday. Honest to God, it's like a great day outside. I'm super happy to be talking to all of you today because what I want to talk to you about is something super, super important. And it's about exactly what we're doing here, exactly what we're doing with the Positive People Army. And now that we're over, oh my gosh, 13,000 people around the world. Thank you so much for making such a positive difference with us. So now that we're over that many people, I think it's becoming really important for everyone to know exactly where this came from, exactly what the Positive People Army is, and probably who I am. A lot of people are asking me, more and more people as they're joining, as this entire movement is becoming bigger and more powerful every single day. As we always say, we are spreading the most positive virus to take the planet back. We are taking it back from negativity. We are 100% going to make this an incredibly positive space for everyone on this planet, because positivity comes from in here. And as soon as we all feel that in here, it's going to spread. It's this virus that's so amazing. So a number of people that are joining now, the larger we get, and they're constantly asking me like, Heidi, how did this all start? Where did this all come from? So today, grab yourself a coffee. I'm actually going to catch you up. I'm going to let you know exactly where the Army came from, and why this is happening and why this has become the most beautiful thing that is happening. So, and actually, we're going to go way back to when I first started talking. Literally, it started then. When I started talking as a really young kid, I said to my parents regularly, and they would always just pat me on the head. Yeah. Okay, Heidi, yes. I would constantly say, I'm going to make a huge difference in this world. I'm going to make a huge difference. And they would pat me on the head and say, okay, Heidi, but how are you going to do that? And I would constantly say, I have no idea, but I know I'm supposed to do this. I know I'm supposed to make a difference in the world. And I know so many of you out there right now, in this moment, as you're listening to this, are saying, I thought the same thing. Heidi, I thought the same thing. So that's why what I'm now going to tell you, the rest of my journey, is going to resonate with so many of you out there, because I know so many of you in this army feel this exact same drive. So I go along my life, I'm constantly saying I'm supposed to make a difference. And this person that you see right now, I'm a little over dramatic, I'm very energetic, I'm always super positive. I was always this person growing up. And so it started my journey, the biggest part of my journey started with my career. And I should say careers, because I've had a lot of them. And that's the thing, I've not just had jobs, I've had full-on careers looking for what this was supposed to be, what it was. Like, I've always had this drive inside of me to figure out what it was that I was supposed to make a difference. And every single time in one of my careers that feeling would bubble up again, that I just wasn't making a big enough difference, I would leave it and I would start all over again. I get a little emotional because some people have watched my life and they have said, it just seems so easy. And not one of those times was it ever easy. It was just that I knew it was supposed to happen. And there was something bigger than me. So my first career, compose yourself, Heidi. My first career, I was a professional photographer. I was a professional photographer for over 10 years. I ran my own company. I had some extremely talented photographers working for me. There are many that are here in the Army. I'm still great friends with them. Catherine, Dominic, you're in the Army. So great that you're here. And I had such a great time. I was a wedding photographer. So of course I was making a difference in people's lives. It was their wedding day. It was their wedding day. And so that was so beautiful. But then all of a sudden it's like a knock at the door. It's like all of a sudden, like, when you watch those movies and all of a sudden the angel shows up and knocks on the door and says, you have to come with me now. This part is over. That's what would happen inside of me. And I would get this feeling like I had to move on. I had to find whatever was next. I've been on this journey of always trying to figure that out. So I had many, many other careers, one of which I was a professional wedding planner. Of course, I owned a wedding gown store at one point. As you can see, there was a theme for a while there with weddings. In fact, Leanne, beautiful Leanne, who's just become a brand new leader here in the Army, actually bought a wedding dress from me from my store. But yes, I had a wedding gown store, but every single time, again, that knock at the door, and I would leave very successful careers, extremely successful careers. I went from weddings, I went into radio. The beautiful Madeline, who's been such a mentor in my life, she gave me a job. I worked on a radio station. I was a morning co-host on a radio station. So it was here I was really starting to learn my voice. See, every single place I went, it was almost like I was being prepared for what this is, prepared for what we're doing here with the Army. Eventually, television came knocking on my door, which is so phenomenal. And I enjoyed 6 seasons with the television show Rich Bride, Poor Bride. I was a wedding planner for them. And that was so exciting. But again, I left that as well and then went into television. I was a television producer for years. And then my last career, I worked for the Marilyn Dennis Show. I was a producer on the Marilyn Dennis Show. And here I was truly making such a difference every single day because I was doing makeovers on women. I was giving makeovers. And I don't know if you've ever experienced anything like a makeover, but when a woman all of a sudden is transformed like that, it changes something within them. And so I loved that job. I loved that experience of making a difference in people's lives. But then 2 years ago, it just wasn't enough again. That knock at the door came again. And many of you know this part of the story. Many of you know this where I was allowed to make this much of a difference at the Marilyn Dennis Show, but I wanted to make a difference in the world, and I had no idea what that was. I had no idea. So I'm going to tell you a really funny story here. I actually decided 2 years ago that I was going to go and work for someone who would help me make this difference. So I decided I was going to go work for Oprah Winfrey. I'm not lying to you. I was like, I am going to go work for Oprah Winfrey. She is making such a difference in the world, and she'll understand why this drive is so important, why it's so important to make a difference. So what I did, I came home. I said to Mike, my husband, I said, you know what, sweetheart, I'm just not making a big enough difference. I have to go work for Oprah. And my husband, being that what he is, I mean, I'm the person that has left one career after another. I mean, at one point when I got into television, I literally moved my entire family from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, to Toronto. Like, I can't describe to you enough how strong this drive is. So I was like, that's it. I'm going to go work for Oprah. So I did a lot of research. How do you actually get Oprah's attention? So I found out that what you have to do is you have to write a really amazing cover letter. So I was like, you know what? I can do this. I can write an amazing cover letter. So I sat down and I started writing a cover letter to Oprah. It took me a week. It took me 1 week. So wrote it out, read it several times. I'm like, okay, I am ready. I'm now ready. I printed it off. The moment I printed that cover letter, I hesitated. I hesitated for the first time in my life. And I don't know if anyone of you know what that means, what it means to hesitate, to not have the answers all of a sudden. And I didn't. I'd always had the answers of what I was going to do next, how I was going to somehow find out how I was going to make a difference in this world. I'd constantly always had that next step prepared. I mean, here I was at the Marilyn Dennis show. It wasn't enough. I now was like, I'm gonna go work for Oprah. See, I had that answer. And now all of a sudden, I'm staring at this cover letter and I didn't have the answers. And I had to ask myself 2 questions. So I asked myself, could I get this job? Well, hell yeah. Have you heard my careers I've had? I've gone from one thing to another very successfully. Of course I knew I would do anything in my power and everything to get this job. That wasn't the issue. It was the second question that changed my life. I asked myself, do I want the job? And I didn't. And I didn't want the job because I knew it wasn't it. That question, that realization spiraled me into a really bad breakdown. And a lot of you here in the Army have heard me talk about the breakdown from 2 years ago. And I went into a really bad breakdown. And that breakdown lasted for almost 7 months. And I'm this happy right now. I'm like, ooh, crying, but it's like I've always been this really happy, positive person. And all of a sudden, I had a hard time getting out of bed. I knew without a doubt I'm supposed to make a difference, but now I had no answers. I had no idea what to do next. I had no idea. And if there's one thing you have to know about me, I will never settle, ever. So here I am in this awful, awful breakdown. And then there was a number of things that it was like, I actually started praying a lot. I would ask questions constantly. In Army, we talk about this stuff all the time. When you ask questions in the conscious, when you're sleeping, your subconscious starts to give you the answers that you need. And all of a sudden, opportunities and answers started coming into my life that I didn't expect. One of which was this one particular Saturday. Some of you have heard me tell this story. This one particular Saturday, my husband was at his wit's end. He just wanted to do anything to make me feel better. I was just in such a dark place. And I know, Army, there's so many of you that are here in the Army that are in dark places a lot of days. And we help each other and support each other. And so for me, I had Mike. And so we love to listen to jazz music. So this one particular Saturday, he said, oh my goodness, you'll never guess. The manager at this place that we go to, which by the way, not very often, it's his birthday today. We should go and say happy birthday to him. And I said to him, why on earth do you have Musad's birthday in your calendar? Like, this just seems so odd. We're not friends with this person. We see him when we go in and he's very nice and gracious and we're always very nice to him. But I was so perplexed as to like, why do you have his birthday in your calendar? He said, yeah, weird thing, Heidi. 2 years ago, he mentioned when it was his birthday and I don't know why. I actually wrote it in my calendar. So now, as Army members, we all know nothing happens just because. Everything happens for a reason. So it's like the universe was getting ready. Had Mike put that in his calendar 2 years before. So this moment now in my life, 2 years later, when I am in the darkest place, we're gonna go and wish him happy birthday. So we go to the restaurant and we listen to the jazz and it's amazing. And Musad said hi to us as soon as we got there. He's so lovely. And so we enjoyed the entire afternoon. As the jazz ended, Musad comes over to us and says, can I get you your bill? And I said, actually, Musad, no. We would like to get one more round and we're going to buy you a drink. And he said, why are you going to buy me a drink? And I said, well, there's only one reason why we're here today, and that's to wish you happy birthday. So we would like to buy you a drink. And in that moment, I saw a human being transform in front of me, transform from just his day-to-day to the most overjoyed, elated, empowered, beautiful human being. He couldn't believe, one, that strangers had come in to wish him happy birthday when most of his customers he'd known for 20 years and most of his family hadn't bothered to wish him happy birthday, but that we did. And then, but it's not that, it's what happened when that kindness was given to this incredible person. I watched him change. I watched his heart grow in that moment. And so we walked away and I said to my husband, oh my gosh, did you see that moment? Did you see that moment? I said, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And my husband, being the way he is, said, what, you're supposed to walk around wishing people happy birthday? No. Yes, of course, but no, it was that moment. It was that moment of making someone feel incredible by sharing kindness and positivity. Granted, I had no idea what this meant, but I knew it was such a sign. It overwhelmed me so much. To this day, I still get very overwhelmed telling that story. So that's the thing. I realized all of a sudden something was happening. Then next story begins with my beautiful friend, Madeline, who changed her Christmas party down in Niagara-on-the-Lake so that I could come down and see her. And we attended the party, and I had to put on, I'm gonna tell you, I had to put on the biggest mask to attend that party because I didn't want to. And I wasn't feeling great inside as a human being. And it was her knowing that I needed something or a friend or needed to talk. And so we went to that party, and it was the next day. She said to me, Heidi, that was a great mask you wore last night at the party, but it's now time for you to tell me what's going on. And of course I was like, no, I'm perfectly fine. And she said, no, you're not, honey. Well, 3 hours later, and then with very puffy, swollen eyes from crying so much, I had told her everything that was going on in my life. And she gave me the most profound advice. And she said to me, Heidi, it's time for you to figure out what you're supposed to do with the rest of your life. I've known you for so many years, and I've seen the light, and now it's time for everyone else to see it. So it's time for you to figure it out. And so she held me accountable that I had to have a meeting with myself. And of course, I involved my husband, Mike Allen, in these meetings. And every Wednesday I would sit. She gave me a pad of paper and 2 beautiful blue pencils. And she said, figure it out. Just keep writing until you know what you're supposed to be doing. And so every Wednesday, I had no idea what I was doing. I am telling you right now, not a clue what I was doing. And I sat and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote what I liked. I wrote what I disliked. I wrote what I thought this was. I wrote what I didn't think it was. And weeks and weeks and weeks passed. And then all of a sudden, one day, on the paper were 3 words: positive, people, and army. They were 3 separate places on the sheet. And I don't know how, and I don't know why, but I don't question these things anymore. I strung those 3 little words together. Positive, people, army. And something changed. I felt like my whole world shifted. I felt like everything shifted. I was so overwhelmed. Like when you talk about you get goosebumps from head to toe, I was covered with goosebumps on goosebumps on goosebumps. Like every hair on my body was standing. And I looked at Mike and I said, this is it. And he's like, what is it? I said, I have no idea, but I think we're going to figure it out. So in the beginning, the Positive People Army started as a blog. It was a simple, beautiful blog. I wrote on it. It's just positivepeoplearmy.com. I've written many incredible, vulnerable stories. I literally, if I was going to do this, I was going to do it. And there was no more of what will people think or people's feelings are going to, it was just, I needed to write. I needed to write what was in my heart. And so I started writing, and other people then started sending me their stories to put on the blog, and I would share their stories. And then all of a sudden it was like all these people just started coming. They were sharing the stories, they were reading the stories, they were writing me, telling me that I can relate to that story. I'm exactly the same way. And so now I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people that are talking to me because there's no place else for them to talk. And so then this past January, a friend of mine said to me, I said to her, I should say, you know, I got all these people are coming forward, an army is being created, but I feel like I need a place for the army to talk to each other. I feel like they need to connect, to support each other, and for all of us to be a part of this. And she said to me, why don't you just start a Facebook group? And I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't even know what a Facebook group was. Like, honest to God, I'm so blind in what I've been doing. I've literally just been following my heart and following advice that people have been giving me and just enjoying this journey for what it is. And so I started the Positive People Army Facebook group last January, end of last January. And in 24 hours, there was 1,200 people. It's like you were all just gifted to me. We were gifted to each other. And so we are now at 9 months later, and there's over 13,000 people all over the world. All over the world. Over 13,000 people talking, supporting, spreading this incredible positive virus. I'm telling you, people, we are taking this planet back one person at a time. So now, here we are. Heidi, what do you do next? Was the next thing that was coming. All of a sudden, it was like we were like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Like in one day, less than 24 hours, we went from 5,000 to 6,000. In less than 24 hours, we increased by 1,000 people. So there's something here. And so everyone started to ask me, what's next, Heidi? What do we do next? We've got this incredible group. So now I'm going to tell you what's next. What's next is we create leaders, and I'm looking for them. I'm looking for you. I'm looking for you. You've listened to my story. There's probably so many elements of this where you're like, oh my God, you're telling my story, Heidi. You're telling my story. I know I'm supposed to make a difference. So if you are that person, and you are supposed to be making a difference in this world, I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you because we are creating leaders right now. And these leaders will be teaching workshops. You're going to become a part of the army. This will become your next career. This is my next career. I left my job at the Marilyn Dennis Show. I left my job at the Marilyn Dennis Show because this means more to me, and I know this is it. And I know you know it's it. I know you know. So come and join me. Make this your job. Teaching workshops, teaching people how to be positive, how to have a positive balance in their life, how they can be leaders in their life, in their job, in their community. These are the people I'm looking for. And I know you're out there because there's over 13,000 of us, and I know you're out there. And I need to talk to you. It is time, Army, for us to spread the most positive virus and take this planet back. Take this planet back from the negative people that are in positions they shouldn't be, from the negative people that are in these toxic job locations, making people feel so awful about themselves. It's time to take this planet back. One person at a time, one heart at a time. I'm looking for you. Come and be a leader, an impact leader. Impact everyone, me, the PPA, conquering together. Come and be a leader. Be a leader and make your job to spread positivity. Thank you so much for listening to me today. This was a long live, guys, but now you know it all. Now you know the story, and now you know what this journey is. Have a great day, everyone.